Monday, and I thought our topic today would be anticipating our Mondays, the dreaded Mondays, and just we've got lots of praises and prayers today too. Excuse me for being jumbled. I am not feeling 100% today. And I just came flying down from my office. I have my laptop totally maxed out, as well as my iPad and my iPhone, and I am needing to back them all up. So that's what I've been doing, and I was kind of in a spot where I couldn't break away. So therefore, I was scurrying a bit. So I'm here. I'm just a little bit off today. Hello, Miss Deb. Miss Deb says howdy and prayers for you and your health. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I woke up this morning. I felt good when I woke up, but I was laying there for a little bit and then I just could not keep my eyes open anymore. I was just so exhausted. So I stayed laying and I slept till 10:30, which I don't ever do. And I got going, I felt good, and now I'm just feeling like a slug again. I don't know. It's just, I'm still kicking this infection. I'm on like the last day of my antibiotics. I don't know if that has something to do with it or if I stirred something up. Who knows with me? I don't know for sure, but I just feel a little off. So bear with me. But I wanted to definitely chat today and catch up with you guys because one of the things that I hear a lot of people saying is that they hate Mondays. And I used to hate Mondays, and I realized today that that's not me anymore. I don't hate Mondays, and I think it's because I've started to take on a different approach with them. So I thought we would talk about that today. And the other thing is when things don't go our way. And I kind of was correlating them together because so often, we are anticipating things and our Mondays and having expectations, wanting everything to be perfect. And when they don't go perfectly for us, it really throws us off kilter. So, perfect example, I had my day mapped out today and my body is not cooperating. However, because I had a plan for my day, hello, Miss Jane, hello. Because I have a plan, and pretty much I always have a plan, but you know what? When God's plan takes over and he has different ideas for my day, I'm totally good with that because I realize that what is happening in my day is better for me than what I had planned, and he has something different in mind. So I'm okay with that. And that, again, comes to learning how to roll with everything and not necessarily having expectations. And what I mean by that is it's good to have a plan, but when things go awry, it makes it really easy to be okay with it. I don't know how better to explain that, and today my brain is not working entirely. So let's talk about it this way. Every Sunday evening, and I do this every night, and every morning I look at my calendar and I have my stuff mapped out. If things didn't get done the day before, I review the calendar and I get myself a plan for the next day. Here on our homestead, no day is alike ever, which is good. It makes for variety. It makes it fun. But the other thing is, when you are attacking your days with intention and direction, they go a lot better for you than if you were to just try to fly by the seat of your pants, which I used to do also. But I just used to dread Mondays because they were always upside down and sideways. But I'm learning that upside down and sideways is actually a good thing in many ways. It's keeping me from being too rigid, and it adds variety. So I don't know. I like adventure. I don't know about you guys, but that just seems to work well for me. Howdy. Let me see. I see you guys commenting. Hello, sweet Mama T. She is on. We got Laura on. Good morning. Jane says, took me years to quit stomping my feet when plans changed. Now I accept it. And Jane says, because I believe I'm needed elsewhere. Exactly. You know, your plans are changing because, you know, there's purpose in it somehow. I had one of those kinds of weekends. My plans were completely changed. I wondered. I didn't hear from you. I even said to Glenn, yeah, that's weird. I didn't hear from Mama. So, yeah, we have those. Hey, Shelly, you made it. I am so glad. Rob's in the house. In the kitchen with Rob has joined us. We haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. And Jane says, it's been proven. Oh, yes, exactly. You know, when you're open to see that God is using you in a different way and that your plans have changed with a very valid reason, you know, it's pretty cool. And you keep your mind and your heart and your eyes open. It's pretty awesome stuff. Just saw some other comments. I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone, so hopefully this is not too loud. But I needed, I'm on my little stool. And I almost fell.
Pull it out.
Pull it out. It is out. Well, not all the way. All right. What would I do without him? He's looking out for me. Miss Shelley says, I may not respond as per usual. Really hard to see with just one eye. Yes, sweet friend. Okay, guys, we need to be praying for Miss Shelley. Her left eye is very swelled up, and she is under the weather and not feeling well as a result of that. Hey, baby, could you grab the popcorn container for me?
Now you're pushing it.
I know. Well, I'm realizing that's why the glass one. I need my stand for me so I can reach the sink properly.
Hi.
And my stand for the phone. There we go. That's better. How are you making out there?
I've got those new tools done.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. That'll be a nice surprise for them. Okay, cool.
Planner hooks are done.
Okay,
So,
cool.
the planner hooks need painted, but
They're done. Okay. Cool. We've got all kinds of good stuff going on there. Jane says hello.
hello, Jane. Hope you're doing well. Hi, Mom.
Yep. And Rob's on.
Hey, Rob.
And Deb,
How
yeah.
you doing?
we got a full house again. This is awesome. Okay, so having a plan is really important. That's one thing that we've talked about a lot this year, but I can't express it enough. We have been sitting down here and having some like major mastermind sessions as to what we want to accomplish here this year, because as we were talking, you know, things change. Mom says, hi, son. Hello, Miss Toyka. And, you know, things do change. And our year has already shifted in such a tremendous way, and is looking like it's going to. So all of our best laid intentions of accomplishing a lot of different things here, guest cabins, greenhouse, garden, has all shifted. So now we had to prioritize the most important things, because not all of it's going to fit into the schedule, at least the way it's looking right now. So being able to shift and change plans is really important. I mean, we've just had 65-degree weather, beautiful sunshine, and oh, you can't see it because of the screen. Let me see this one. Can you see the snow and wet snow and yuck coming down?
Snowing out there.
It's snowing. It's snowing. It's snowing. Whoop. Spin around. There we go. So, you know, the key to success through your days is being able to roll. And so often we're so hardcore attached to our plans, we're not willing to shift when things change, and we're not willing to shift and let God direct us. And because of that, that's why you dread your Mondays, or any day, or any instance where things just go haywire. You know, our theory is when we wanted something and it didn't happen, we weren't meant to have it. When we're doing something and something breaks, we weren't meant to do that task for the day. We're meant to do something different. You know, so we just keep going, and we look at it that way. And when you look at it that way, it's not near as hard. It's not near as hard to shift. So, and the same applies for health. I know Jane, Laura, poor Shelly right now can all attest to the fact that when health stuff sets in, if you're not willing to roll with it, it can put you in a really bad mental place. And learning to shift, when you have health and chronic health, you sometimes don't know what your day-to-day is going to be like. So when you learn to just roll with your circumstances and be willing to shift your plans, it's a lot kinder, a lot kinder. I can see you guys messaging here. Miss Laura says, she says, hey, yo, mountain man. And Melissa is on here. Good morning, Miss Melissa. Shelley says, I have an infection that resulted in cellulitis in my right eye. Eye is leaking fluids all the time. My lymph node is infected and causing pain in my upper jaw. Selfie pictures are backwards. As soon as you said that, I realized that. So, well, we are praying for you, sister. My heart goes out to you because, like I shared with you, I know what that feels like when your face is and your lymphatic system is messed up. It just messes with everything, and then the pain of cellulitis, that's just terrible. So we are definitely praying for you. I've been praying for you all weekend. Laura says, I used to plan everything, and it's good to plan. I still plan everything, but I mean, he will attest. I for the longest time had no idea how I was going to feel from one minute to the next. So it made life a real challenge. But when you live in God's will and you just roll with it, it puts you in a really different place. Almost, for me, it's an adventurous place because things are always changing. And when you look at change in a good way instead of in a negative way, a lot of people can't handle change. The mountain boy couldn't handle change initially. He would just end up on the floor throwing tantrums at a young age when things would change. Even at school, if there was like an assembly and he didn't know about it ahead of time, there was total disruption. Until we grabbed the bull by the horns and started the mountain man's blacksmithing business before we had moved out here. It was an adventurous time. We were going all over the place, cleaning things and moving things and getting things in place for his shop. And the day-to-day was just, we never knew what was going to happen. So it was like, hey, grab your shoes, put them on, grab a book, grab a snack, and let's go. And that's what really shifted things for him, was learning to adapt to change. And as adults, it's probably even harder for those of you.
Kids nowadays do that anyways.
What?
Even those that don't have autism.
Oh, pitch a fit?
Pitch a fit because they don't get their
own way. Right. So.
Spoiled little brats.
That's not all of them.
Most of them.
You know what? I did. Oh, I did.
You did?
I did.
You
Never
did.
mind. It's a day here. I'm really disheveled, so forgive
it
me.
ain't night.
What?
Well, it ain't a night.
Right.
You said
You're right.
it's a day.
I know, it is a day. Oh, my word. Janie says, God has changed my plans a few times and may have also saved my life a couple times because of that. Right. Exactly. You hear me saying, you get stuck in traffic somewhere and you end up being detoured. God held you up there for a reason. That's always the way I look at that. There's purpose in everything. And you hear me say that all the time too. And it's really important that you're willing to change. You're willing to be molded and worked on. I mean, we all need that in varying ways. But the key thing is being open-minded and looking at all the things that are disruptive as an adventure in some ways, because oftentimes when I have things happen in my day that take me away from what I was working on, they end up being a divine break. And I needed it, just like this today. Walking away from that screen as I'm getting like completely tired out is a blessing. But people will stop by, or someone will call, or something comes across my desk that needs to be addressed and I was doing something else. They end up being divine breaks in many ways. So How many of you struggle to deal with change? And how many of you plan things out? Because I like having a plan, because when one thing falls apart, I have others on the list I can fall back on, unless God is completely guiding me differently. But being willing to listen to that still small voice is really important. So when things fall apart, it's always good to pause. Pause and evaluate. And when you pause and you're in that quiet space, say what?
Hit the pause button.
The pause. Yes, you got to hit the pause button, he said. But that's really the key thing, is learning to just pause when things aren't as planned and reevaluate and allow yourself the opportunity to hear that still small voice. So
Hit the pause button. Just don't hit the red button.
Right, don't hit the red button. All right, Laura says, now I start my days by asking God, what is his plan for me today? Yep, it's even written in my journal today. I'm like, because I knew I needed that today because I was so exhausted. And that looks cool. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. Now you can see it.
It's a blizzard. We're gonna die.
It probably looks even prettier out the front. Yeah. Yeah, we've been getting these big flakes all day. They are not really laying.
That's flaky.
It is flaky, ain't it? Wow. I'm telling you, today is an off day. It's a Monday. So yes, Laura, that is so awesome to be able to do that, because that's exactly what I did today. I was just said to God, I don't have my wits about me. And as he'd share, I probably don't often, but I need direction. So guide me today in whatever I have to do, because I knew that I was going to be having struggles. So let me see here. Where are we? And then Melissa says, Shelly, maybe hot water compress, use hot rags and eat garlic. Good recommendation. Jane says, you can plan, but pray about it first. You'll hear or get a sign. Amen. I've always shared with you guys that we pray about everything that comes to us as an opportunity. We pray about it first. If Glenn's off by himself and somebody offers something, he will say, let me go talk to Tam, and we'll pray about it and get back to you. That's our answer. And in doing so, that way you won't be stepping out into something that isn't right for you and that isn't in God's will. And it helps greatly in learning how to say the yes and no, like we talked about last week, because so often we are yes people and wanting to please and bite off more than we should. So that's another great way to be able to keep that from happening. But yes, and that is just a key thing. I mean, that's how we roll with everything. So now he's singing. Jane says, oh no, Shelly, prayers for sure. Thank you, Jane. Shelly says, I try to plan, but it's not like I expect it to happen as per I expect. Exactly. I make goals and try, but know that if it may not be in my time, but in his time. That is also true. Very, very true. Toyka says, oh, my Shelly. My mom used to get it in her legs. I didn't know it could be in your eye. I will be praying for you for sure. Awesome. And Melissa is praying for you too, Shelly. Shelly says, I think it may have been from a spider bite. Started with pain on back of the head with a couple painful bumps in my hairline. Oh, man. Spiders are just such buggers. I am not fond of spiders.
She could see a spider that's about that big around.
No, like
Okay,
the tip
like
of my
the tip of
pinky.
your pinky.
It could be tiny.
And you'd think it was a spider big enough you could throw a saddle on it and ride it.
You know it. Well, that little spider could bite me and
Call your names and hit you in the head.
yeah. And hey, I look like a Klingon once because something bit me right here, and the whole front of my forehead had a half a softball sticking out of it.
Far
So
was it?
pretty far. Hush now. Yeah, spiders are terrible, and they can cause such terrible infections. It's awful. Melissa said, I had that happen a couple months ago. I used oregano from herbs and spices, and it cleared it up. Yeah, our natural stuff is so amazing and so helpful to have on hand. Toika says, wow, well, it came on quick and it can go away quick. Yep. Very much so. Shelley says, thank you all for your prayers. Jim had been home from work and has been able to take me to the hospital the last 3 days. I'm so grateful. I was going to ask you that this morning when we were chatting. Laura says, I plan to change. Right, exactly. Miss Deb says, howdy, y'all. Listening while driving to my next job. I hear everyone and all your prayers and situations. So good to be here. So good to have you here. What have you been feeding him? You mean the man? Energy food. Lots of elk and lots of meat and taters. Clem. Yep. Jane saw Clem out the window. I love it.
I'm done interrupting now.
Are you?
I'm going back to the shop.
You're done harassing me.
For now.
It's okay. I would be lost if you weren't.
Mm-hmm. Everybody take care. We'll be praying for y'all. Not in front of the children.
You know, Carol's not on here today. Yeah. Well, there's her grunt if she's watching the replay. So that was good. Good timing. Deb says, gorgeous snow, raining a bit here in north central Washington. Yeah, it's weird. It's on and off. Now it's like blowing sideways. It's pretty crazy. The big flakes are pretty to watch. When I was up in my office, they were really super huge. And it
blizzard, I might not make it back.
I know you've got far to go. Be careful.
I'm doomed.
Shelley says, I had a fever and had to have the COVID test due to how I was feeling. Came back negative. Friday night, went to sleep. All was fine with the eye. Woke up at 3:30 and everything okay. 4:30 and her eye wouldn't open. That's just terrible. It's so terrible. Toika says, snow. Wow, make sure you have enough to eat since you will be snowed in for a while. I know, right? Shelley says, hello to Deb and glad you're able to listen. Toika says, that's a huge spider size, Glenn. I don't like spiders. Just for that reason. I don't mind snakes. I don't mind anything else. But spiders, man, the reactions I get are terrible. Mama T says she'll be keeping you in prayers, Shelley. And she said, so sorry. Shelley, I want to mention something to you that I didn't think about until just now. Put lavender around the outside, not on it because it could get in your eye. But put it around it and put it on your nose. Because that is really good for eye. It gets rid of pink eye super fast. It's like amazing. And any eye infections, lavender. So lavender across the bridge of your nose and far around the perimeter, not too close to your eye that you get it in there. But that will help as well. Jane says, I don't like spiders or snakes. Laura says, be good. I imagine that was to the mountain man. Yes, crazy bones is what Mama T says. Having beautiful sunshine weather here. Yeah, we were. We got spoiled. Jane says, Shelley, is your eye purplish like a black eye? It's definitely colorful. It's not like a black eye, but it's just so swelled up, poor thing. Deb says, Glenn, you should check out some folks that are tough enough to take the hardcore life. Love to hear your voice of drama. Yeah, he's very funny. He is very funny. But our hardest part of life is when we aren't willing to change and when we don't get our own way. And when you can change those things, I hear all of you saying that you plan and that you have goals, and all of those things are a really important aspect of things. Especially, you've heard me say over and over again how important it is to get your plans and goals on paper. Once you get them out, the other thing is creating a vision board, because when you have a vision board of your plans and your goals and your dreams, it gives you something to look at, and your mind works subconsciously on those things. And honestly, we've seen such amazing results with that for ourselves. It's been really awesome. And I just want to encourage you guys to take that route because, we all say we want to do things, but you don't even take the effort to write them down. When you write them down, it makes it more concrete. The other thing, if you would see my date book from last week, goodness. I mean, the last month has been that way between getting Austin in school and all that we've both got going on. It's been pretty crazy. But I consistently am writing things in there. And if I don't have my date book on me, I use Workflowy and put a little note in there. And then when I get back to the office or the book, I put it in there. It's really important for me to not lose track of things because typically the things that we've got going on are important, whether it's involving a client of mine or his, something with our business with Trayer Wilderness, so forgetting things could be hazardous at times, and you guys know that too with, just different things in life. So when you record them and get them on paper, and I used to be a sticky note girl. I dread sticky notes and little pieces of paper. Do you know how easy they are to lose? And do you also know how long it takes to sort through and sort through and sort through till you find the right one, until you find it and you remember where you put it? Such a drag. And I think 2014 was when I started just removing all that because one day I was searching for something and I just got so aggravated because of the amount of time I had to waste. It was hours. And I typically know where everything is. When you live with other people, sometimes things get moved. So nevertheless, having to search for something for that long of a period is such a waste of our time. Our time is precious. So I got rid of sticky notes. I have one book and I have 2 apps that I use, and everything gets dumped from here into there so that I know where to look and where to find things. And screenshots of things are a great tool, but if you take endless screenshots and you don't organize them, I use my Evernote to store screenshots. And typically a screenshot is an important piece of information that I need for later. Sometimes screenshots are just temporary, and then I make sure I delete them. Otherwise, if it's important and I need to recall it, it gets stored in Evernote and it gets a title that won't be forgotten, so that I can easily search for it. And remember, Evernote searches photos for words, so that makes it also very handy. So I've gotten myself really organized. Being organized like that makes life so much easier. It makes every day so much kinder when you're not having to waste time searching for things. And it enables me to have my plans, my goals, and my to-do lists all in front of me. So when you have a plan to be organized and you make it a habit to learn how to do these things, it makes life so much easier. And then when things go off kilter, it enables you to roll with it and have your stuff there that you can easily switch to another day, roll to the next thing. Sometimes, for example, something on my to-do list, say it was client work, and suddenly the client says, hold off on that update. We can't do it. I have other stuff coming. Just wait. So then I shift to the next thing on the to-do list. So when you learn to have these things written down and you do it in an organized way, get rid of the sticky notes, get rid of the little pieces of paper, and start doing it in an intentional way. And your life will be so much easier, because my Mondays used to be dreaded, but it's because I was embracing them with no regard. I didn't have a plan. And, I kind of planned out my week and my other days, but now I'm very, very intentional with that. And I started that in 2014 also. And there's some great apps on the phones to keep track of your schedule, your notes, all of that. So if you're a digital kind of person, go that route. I can give you some examples. Nosebe, Nozbe, TrayerWilderness.com/Nosebe is a great calendar app. Evernote, you hear me talk about that all the time. Workflowy is a great bullet app and makes things very handy, like grocery shopping and to-do lists. So those are others that I recommend. TrayerWilderness.com/Evernote and TrayerWilderness.com/Workflowy. Okay, let me jump in here. Wow, there was a lot going on here and I did not see it. The lavender is an awesome idea, Tammy. Yes, lavender is really helpful in bringing down the inflammation too. And yes, Shelly's eye is red and swollen. My jaw is starting to bug me off and on now, even more since the doctor palpated the area. Yeah, and that's because your lymphatic runs behind your ear, and typically when lymphatic clogs, your eustachian tube clogs. So there's a video on our channel for lymphatic drainage. Shelly, check that out. And then it also links to 2 other videos that are really helpful in draining that whole area. That's why I suggested using the ball on your foot, because that will open your body to start kind of suctioning the fluid down. But sometimes you get clogged, and I'm going to share another thing you can do, and this is for all of you. About 2 inches, men or women, about 2 inches up from your nipple. You just rub. You'll feel it if they're clogged because they'll be really sensitive. But if you rub in there across your chest, you will feel like an indent. And that is another port. It's on both sides. And if you rub those and stimulate that area, it actually starts the drainage from your head down. So I would be like a walking puff balloon if I would not have learned those skills, because my lymphatic has clogged for the last 6 years. It's been terrible. It was really bad for the first 3 years, and I've gotten really in tune with my system to keep it drained. That's why I use the melt system all the time. I think that link is down below, TrayerWilderness.com/melt method. They're little balls that you use in certain fashion on your hands or on your feet, and it stimulates drainage through your tissue. It's awesome. It's really awesome. It's very simple. It doesn't feel like it's doing a thing when you're doing it. You might find tender spots on your hands or your feet. Those are spots that are clogged, and your system will start draining. So I highly, highly encourage you to do that, Shelly, because my guess is that's one of the reasons why it's so congested up here. So you can try that. But for all of you, I think Jane said that's how she found me, was through the lymphatic drainage video that I did. That thing gets so much activity, but it's such priceless knowledge. Let me see. Shelly says, I will try the lavender, but my eyes keep running. I have put peppermint on my pillow. Doctor says my eyes will run, and so will my nose as the fluids find a way to escape. Yeah, and when your eyes that swollen, it's just very common. But the lavender, even put it above. If it's running down below and you think it'll just waste it, put it above and put it on your nose. That lavender will help you so much. Jane says, that's how all this started with me. Eyes swollen, runny, blurry, looked like a black eye, but purple red. They were treating me for impacted sinuses, secondary of COVID. Crazy. 2 rounds of antibiotics. Wow. That's just creepy. How are you doing with your hair? Jane says neti pot helped flush. Yes, neti pots are amazing. If you're not familiar with them, you can go to TrayerWilderness.com/neti pot, and you will find them. They are amazing, and there's something really good to have on hand. Shelly says no sinus infection. It was from the back of my head, so itchy now. So I'm taking antihistamines to help with that. That's terrible. Melissa says, my situation a couple months back, I believe, started from a spider bite. Had welts on my chin and arms. Yep. Yeah, spider bites, they can be, your body's going to react because the toxin is something that is foreign and typically very toxic. even for, non-toxic spiders, their venom and their bites are really terrible. Laura says, I started reading Wired for Healing today. Awesome. Awesome. And I put the retraining the brain information on this video since so many of you were asking. What was happening is when I was cutting and pasting into YouTube, it was making my description too long. So I had cut it off the last couple ones. But because you guys have been asking for that, I swapped out the Creating Balanced Health and put the retraining the brain in there because it is vital. So many that have chronic and autoimmune issues can completely eliminate them, including PTSD, just by retraining our brains. Our brains are trainable, guys. We are living with one of the greatest tools that we could ever ask for. We just need to learn how to tap into it. And I am learning such great techniques. So maybe moving forward here, I will do a share on how you can go about doing that because it's really, really awesome. Our brains are amazing and God made us in such an amazing way. So we really need to learn to tap into that and realize that we can heal ourselves. Jane says, yes, I do that quite often and dry brushing. Yep. Laura says, I bought an amber bracelet and necklace. I can only wear them a day at a time or the pain sets in. Huh, that's interesting because they're supposed to remove the pain. You might be like the mountain man. The mountain man will take stuff that's supposed to help him, like say with an ache and pain, and instead of it removing it, it brings it for him too. So it's kind of weird. So you may have, just might be your makeup. I love, amber is so good at helping drain. That's another thing, Shelly, if you have any amber, my amber necklaces are being worn because they help my lymphatic to drain. Not really for pain for me. Deb says, I need to get my neti pot back out of my stuffy dry nose. Yes, neti pots are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Water testing, all okay. Waiting 48 hours on the bacteria test. Put a purification system on the shower head. Had my hair cut this AM. So broken and dry. And her TSH4 is slightly elevated. So crazy. Well, I hope that you can figure it out. We will continue to pray that God puts it on your heart or your physicians to be able to figure this out for you. Oh, awesome. Wired for Healing is part of the Kindle Unlimited free reading. Awesome. The link for that should be down below for the book. The Wired for Healing is the book written by the woman that conducts the Retraining the Brain courses, and it's very eye-opening. Laura, that was me. Reading that book was me. That was everything I experienced and then some. It's really, really crazy. And to have been able to remove much of that from my body and not experiencing it anymore is priceless. And I'm so grateful for people like that keep searching and delving in. Their purpose was to reveal that stuff. And same with the woman with the melt method. It's amazing stuff, amazing gifts. So what kind of praises do you guys have and what kind of prayers do you have for today? Shelly, we know yours and we will be praying for you, girl. I feel so bad for you. That's terrible. That's terrible, terrible. Shelly says they thought that maybe the eczema on top of my head could have been source of infection, but it's the only part of my head that does not hurt. So weird. So weird. And typically when I get a spider bite, I get those oddities like that too. So I don't know. And with the spider bite, you just kind of got to wait for it to leave your system. Plus with you on the IVs, that should help as well. How many of you guys are really dedicated to creating the habit of planning and writing things down? Writing things down is the key thing. Yeah, and you know, if you don't have a date book and you don't go that route, I use my journal sometimes for our future goals and plans. It's so fun to look back and see. I mean, when we sold the other homestead, I was packing things and I found on a piece of cardboard, this is really funny. This is how he rolls. But it was when you get a calendar sent to you, they put a piece of cardboard in it so it doesn't get bent up when it's being shipped. It was a piece of cardboard from a calendar in 2010, and that had our house plans drawn on it, our original house plans, because they did change once we got here because we moved the house location after it rained for a month. That was our cue that we needed to change things, and as soon as we changed things, it stopped raining. So the 2010 drenching of Idaho was our fault. But the funny thing is, it was on that piece of cardboard, and he has things written on little pieces of paper. I get him journals or notebooks to write in, but he goes for the little piece of paper or the piece of wood. It's so funny, when we're building, we find all his little notes on wood where he's figuring things out. So I love how he does it. But we found that, and it was pretty cool to look back and see. And we also had our plan of how we were going to map things out, and a lot of that we did follow. I mean, I'm a very organized person, so before we even left Pennsylvania to head here, I already had the internet being installed 3 days after we arrived, and we had the backhoe secured. We just had to pick it up, and so we had all this stuff lined up. So it does really help when you plan. It enables you to keep your projects rolling. And, if stuff happens, then you reschedule, replan. But planning is important. Let me see here. Melissa says, Grandma's on hospice, peaceful transition, and for smooth transition for my daughters and I. Absolutely. Praying for you. Been praying since I got your email, and sorry I forgot to ask about that, Melissa. But yes, absolutely, we will keep that in our prayers. And Laura says, I praise God for the beautiful day we are having, sunny and 48. Nice, nice, nice. Melissa says, I use my calendar and just started being more intentional. Helps a lot. Jane says, hospice is a wonderful help, and I'll pray. Thank you, Jane. Miss Deb says, I used to be very good at writing everything down, not as much anymore. It is certainly helpful. It keeps me from feeling like I'm in like a whirlwind. When it's written down and it's out of my head, I can think, I can function. Storing too much in our heads is not a good idea. Toika says, one praise is that my 15-and-a-half-year-old Chihuahua's blood work came back amazing for an old dog. Well, awesome. 15-and-a-half. That's crazy. That's crazy. Our old dog is 13, and he's really funny. He's like Mr. Magoo. He can't hear, he can't see, and he's starting not to be able to smell now also. So it's interesting. Our days are interesting with him. 66 degrees here, laid out much of the day. Nice. Lots of vitamin D. Lots of vitamin D. Shelly says, my praises are that I caught this before it got any worse, that Jim was home to be able to take me to the hospital. Praising my granddaughter, who is now 11 pounds and 4 ounces. Awesome, awesome. And you see how God divinely worked that all out for you too, sister. That's awesome. He will touch your body too from all of our prayers. Melissa says, thanks. Grandma Dorothy is a devout Catholic, very good woman. Awesome. Well, we will pray for her, and thank you for sharing her name so we can pray directly. Laura says, hospice is a wonderful place for family and patients. Prayers for peace and love. Awesome. Thank you, Laura. Jane says, I have notes all over and screenshots and notebooks, and then I find them and don't have a clue why I wrote most of the things down. I'm really notorious for screenshots, and then I intend to go back and look at them. And I take a ton of pictures. Part of the reason that my laptop, my iPhone, and my iPad are totally maxed out right now is because we have so much video and photo content. And I'm becoming very intentional, and I have scheduled it so that either every Friday or every other Friday after my kids corner, I am going to go through my phone and delete what was maybe a screenshot for temporary, or the bad photos that that are blurry or whatever. Download them off my phone onto the computer so that they're categorized and in a folder. And when I take screenshots that are of importance, I'm going to instantly put them into Evernote so that they are there and I don't lose them and I know why I did it. I have done that already too. Most of mine are pretty explanatory as to why I have them, but if you don't put them in a place of safekeeping, even create a folder that's important stuff, whatever works, for your mind. Logically, we all look at things a little different, but Evernote has been my key for that kind of stuff. I need to be organized because I am helping the mountain boy, and I'm also getting him in school. I help the mountain man with the construction business and keeping track of orders for Trayer Wilderness, and also building and around here. So our material list. When he gets a job, I'm ordering all the materials, scheduling all the deliveries, and then I do everything with Trayer Wilderness and my web design business. So if I am not organized, I'm sunk. So it's really important that it just gives us peace. It gives us a lot more peace, being able to keep a handle on things. So Laura says, lol, to Jane, yes. And she's not alone. I've been there, and I'm being intentional because right now I'm pulling almost 4,000 photos and videos off my phone. Part because my laptop was maxed and I didn't have a big enough backup drive and I had to wait for it. But it's too many, and I want to be able to categorize things because, like, when we were building, I was just recording so much. And if I take that time and categorize them, I know where everything is when I need to go edit and stuff, so instead of having to hunt and peck. So keeping ourselves organized is important. Toika says, praise, the weakness I get upon standing is my adrenals and not my heart. All right, awesome. Good deal. And do you have a date scheduled for your back? Melissa says, yeah, Toika. And Jane says, I'm a nutbag at times. That's all right. You're not alone. You saw our antics in the beginning of this video. I think I got my brain back now. But man, when I got on here in the beginning, I was like, whoa. Melissa says, I have a praise too. We have an amazing tabby cat rescue. She is so sweet. Awesome. Animals are good at helping us to heal and nurture as well. And Toika says, Jane, we have that in common. Laura says, I keep buying new notebooks and journals. There must be a few hundred packed in our storage and hiding in the house, lol. Yeah, I was really guilty of that too, and I shared that with you guys. When I went to move, I found so many of my journals that had like the first 25 pages written in it, and it didn't make sense in my mind to grab that same journal the next year. I needed journal year per year. I don't know. So yeah, those were all the years that I had failed at keeping a habit of journaling, where now it is concrete and I have one journal and just keep going till it's empty and grab the next one and keep going. So when you start creating those habits, you will eliminate that kind of stuff. It's just a matter of creating the habit. 21 days to 30 days. Routines. We talked about that last week. Routines are important because when you create certain routines, it creates the habits you need, and the habits then create better days for yourselves. Laura says, none of my notebooks are full. Most have only a page or two, right? See? Yes. So when you create that habit and get the habit going and get the routine going, like every morning with devotions, I write in my journal. Sometimes at night I'll add more because something else transpired. But I really love writing in my journal. It's very relaxing to me. It gives me great peace. And looking back on them is great. Sometimes, if you need to express something, getting it out and on writing is very healing. So journals are important, and I encourage you guys to do that. Toika says, lol, me too. See? Yep. Jane says, we have to keep our sense of humor always. If you can't keep your sense of humor, I always said, if I can't keep my sense of humor, you might as well put me 6 feet under. Because life is meant to be fun. God has a good sense of humor. Okay, guys, you know what? I'm going to really quick jump over to read something to you because my iPad battery is dying. That's another issue I'm having. My equipment is just not holding a charge. So, this is just something I read this morning that I thought would resonate with you guys, and it kind of is in line with what we're talking about. Rejoice and be thankful. As you walk with me through this day, practice trusting and thanking me all along the way. Trust is the channel through which my peace flows into you. Thankfulness lifts you up above your circumstances. I do my greatest works through people with grateful, trusting hearts. Rather than planning and evaluating, practice trusting and thanking me continually. It is a paradigm shift that will revolutionize your life. So Philippians 4:4, rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. And Psalms 9:10, those who know your name will trust in you. For you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you. So I really like what that had to say in the regard that I do my greatest works through people with grateful, trusting hearts. And I see it. I see it so much. You know, when you trust in God and you step out in faith, you know, when he changes your plans for the day and you just trust it and roll, you will find peace in your day despite, you know, the hiccup, the having to roll, whatever. But when you're trusting God, you know, rather than planning and evaluating, practice trusting and thanking me continually. So I think it's important for us to plan because he wants us to be active. So when we do have a plan, it's a good thing, but we need to seek him for that plan. And rather than evaluating things, when things just go crazy, just put your trust in him and seek him. And I promise you, you will find great peace in that. Great peace in that. I do. And I'm very grateful, you know, that when things shifted for me, I give God the credit for that because in 2014, I was sick. I was really sick. And I knew I was sick. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know what it was. And we couldn't determine that. So I knew I needed to make my life easier. And I needed to be kinder to myself and not be the superwoman that was multitasking like an absolute lunatic. And I needed to start focusing on me. And in order to do that, I needed to be organized so that I wasn't wasting my hours doing senseless searching when I could be taking care of myself. So, and I know that applies to many of you guys. So check that out and consider that in your life. You know, really analyze that. Melissa says, Jane indeed, when she said about the sense of humor. Thank you, Shelley. Please remember to hit the like button, guys, and share this with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We would love to keep you and have you part of the Trayer Wilderness community. Toika says, I bought an organization book once and then misplaced it in the house. Jane says, Laura, yes, I could have a garage sale of notebooks and journals and sticky notes. Yep. So funny. Toika says, okay, so yes, April 14th at 5:30. Okay, so I just shut off my iPad and I can't write, so I'll remember that. If not, I will message you to make sure. But April 14th at 5:30 a.m. So we need to be praying for Toika. Then write it on your calendars so that we can lift her in prayer while she is undergoing her surgery. That's really funny, Jane, because it just got really bright. Jane says the sun is heading your way, Trayers. Bright blue sky right now. Well, look, it got bright. But it's really, I don't know if you can see it. It's hard to see because of the light, but it's really snowing nicely. Big old flakes. And there's Clem. That's so funny that you remembered that. That's the good humor. Good humor is important. I love laughing. It just makes you feel good. All right, so let me see here. You guys are all fun. Yeah, we're a crazy bunch. That's what makes it great. I love it. I love it. So Laura says, I follow a YouTube channel, The Unexpected Gypsy. She makes really fun journals, and on purpose, she randomly picks pages to work on and sometimes attaches things over older pages she doesn't like. I've seen other people do that. Yeah, there's some really good, there's another lady that does Bible journaling, which is really awesome. And I can't think of her name right now. I'll have to think about that. But yeah, it is fun, and it's good to be creative. You know, when we are creative, we spur our mind. Truthfully, you can avoid things like Alzheimer's and that by keeping your brain fresh and doing things that stimulate and work your mind. Just like you would work out, you need to work your brain. As a matter of fact, I just added an app on my phone. The Elevate is one. I like Sudoku, and there's another one too. Mama, it's the one that you use. I forget what it's called, but you have to, it's like a crossword puzzle, kind of. But challenge your brain, guys. I can't tell you that enough. Challenge your brain. I would not be holding this conversation with you guys if I had not challenged my brain and kept pushing to get my brain back and my mind back, because I couldn't even hold a conversation 6 years ago. It was terrible. It was so hard. It was so hard. That's why we just stopped going anywhere, because I hated being in conversation with people, because as soon as they'd ask me a question, I'd open my mouth to answer and I couldn't remember what they asked. It was terrible. Laura says, I'm going to randomly practice art in my many volumes of journals, but keep a written journal that stays mostly in the timeline. It's fun. And you know, in my journal, I do doodle. When the mood hits me, I will start doodling, but it really, when you are learning something new, if say you're listening to an audio, or you're even listening to a YouTube presentation or something, a class of sorts, if you doodle while you are listening to that, and you also jot notes down, but if you're doodling while you're doing that, it's going to help you retain that so much more. They've done tests on it, and it's really amazing, because you've got the creative side of your brain also incorporated at that point, and it's more likely that you're going to remember and retain the information. So there you go. Let's see. Deb says, I shared your channel and site with a new off-grid family building in Maine. Awesome. Thank you, Miss Deb. No, Jane, don't get rid of them. I will come and save them for you. That's funny. I gifted mine because I had so many, and I gifted mine. And maybe that's what I'll do, Laura, is get the ones that only have a couple pages written on that I did save, get them out and use those as my doodle journals. I think I might. Deb says, they are building a new life off-grid foundation. Check them out. I left your info in their comments. Ah, fantastic. Well, thank you. Thank you. I will check it out. Toika says, thank you, everybody, for the prayers, past, present, and future. Absolutely. Jane, I'm not sure what that means, and maybe you're talking to somebody else. But she said Christ, K-R-Y-S-T with a question mark. I'm not sure. Mama T says, prayers going up for you, Toika. How is your pain levels these days, Toika, with your knee? Is that your knee's good? It's just the pain that you're getting is in your back? So I want to challenge you guys today. Start writing things down. And when you catch yourself writing on a little piece of paper or a sticky note, stop yourself. Laugh, find it funny, and get something to write it on that you can keep writing things in. Whether it's on a notebook or a journal or a date book, or you're using your phone. All the apps I mentioned are down below. There are some really fabulous apps, and honestly, guys, I would be lost without them, which reminds me to mention this one to you guys too, because this is really important. I do not drink enough water. It is such a challenge. I don't know why. I like lemon water with a little bit of stevia. That I drink more. And I like drinking my water out of my copper vessel. But I don't drink enough throughout the day. Coffee is dehydrating, and so is alcohol. Water is your key thing, and a lot of people drink sodas and different drinks with lots of sugar and garbage in it. We've eliminated that stuff so long ago. So it's either hot tea, coffee, or water, and water with lemon that we typically do here. I do sun tea in the summertime, and right now I brew tea and then we make iced tea. But water's important, and unless you're really paying attention, your intake is probably way too low. So I've started using my water app again, and I think that's what it's called, My Water. And it reminds you, and it's forcing me back in that habit again, because I've got to get in the habit, because my water intake is just so terrible. And without good water intake, kidney stones become issues, urinary tract infections become issues, your body is dehydrated, that becomes issues for a lot of things, your organs, everything. When you get dehydrated, your tissue gets dehydrated, and it doesn't get rehydrated when you start drinking like a fiend. So your skin, your tissue actually needs to be manipulated to rehydrate, and that's where massage or the melt method falls into play. And when our tissue is not hydrated, our body is out of kilter and out of balance, and you end up with a lot of pain. So drink your water. I'm speaking to myself as well. So get that app, or get some way to keep reminding yourself, a timer, whatever, to do water. Jane says game like crosswords. Oh, gotcha. I'm following now. I couldn't remember what I said I didn't understand that. So thank you. And yes, I don't know if that's what it was or not, but I will look that up. I love doing that kind of stuff, though, to challenge your brain. It really does help, and it really does help you to retain your memory as you get older, and we all need that, right? Hello, Miss Kelly. Miss Kelly just jumped on. If Courtney's there, hello, Miss Courtney. Laura says, have fun writing things down. Get a magic eraser marker and write on the window and mirrors. Leave yourself a love note on the bathroom mirror. I used to do that all the time. I love doing that stuff. I used to do it for my kids too. That's very cool. Yes, good reminder. And write things that really resonate with you too. Bible verses and encouraging words. You know, if you've got that negative word that keeps popping up in your head and you keep telling yourself that, put the reverse of that on your mirror. Jane says, I just added that app. Thank you. Yes. Really important. Add salt to your water. It helps hydrate better. I like using the Celtic salt for that. Yes. Kelly says, no, she is in Thermopolis, Wyoming with friends. She was so excited to go. That's awesome. And I'm sure a great reprieve from living in her head with everything going on. So awesome. And we will continue to pray. When is her MRI, Kelly? Do you have a date on that? And how are you doing? Any praises or prayers for you? Jane says, oh, Laura, this could get dangerous. Yes, it could, couldn't it? That's funny. Shelly says, my first day for IV antibiotics, they also gave me some fluids as I did not drink enough for 2 days. I usually drink 10 or more cups a day. Nurse had problems putting in an IV. Yep, because your tissue has lost its hydration and they can't find your veins. So yes, it's really, really important that we stay hydrated. It really is the basis for good health. And I was definitely not drinking enough. I was trying very hard to be intentional about drinking more, but until you start really tracking what you're drinking, you just don't realize how off of it you are. So those are my thoughts for today. And how many of you have any suggestions or shares of things that work for you that you are currently using that you want to share here now? My key thing is just keeping track of everything. I am gifted at being organized. It's one of my superpowers. So I know that not everybody is able to keep track of things. But you can change that. You can retrain your brain through creating new habits. I'm like hearing a thunking noise. I'm like, what in the world is that? He just started up a chainsaw out there and it started a little rough. Let me see here. But create new habits. Create new habits to retrain your brain and get those good habits in place and get rid of the old. And it just takes, the reason habits take 21 to 30 days is because, or more, depending on the person, is because you are actually creating new pathways in your brain. And it takes that long for those new pathways to not drift back to the old pathway that it was on. So it's pretty cool to be able to have that power. And if you really think about it in that regard, that you're retraining your brain. Because I think I shared with you guys, I started writing with my left hand when I started journaling. I journal with my left hand. And I'm right hand dominant. But now my left hand tries to take over in instances that I don't even catch it until I'm like struggling in some way. And the other day when we had met up with the mountain boy and took him to lunch, and I was trying to put sauce on my food with my left hand and it wasn't working real well, I just started cracking up because I was using my left hand. So you can retrain things, and it's really, really awesome, the abilities we have. So don't underestimate those things because you have great powers. Let me see here. Shelly says, I put in too much salt in the water, it could be bad. It becomes a digestive system enema. Yes, for sure. That's exactly what will happen. A teaspoon of salt in a cup of water and you will clean out your entire intestines very quickly. Yes, very true, Shelly. And good pointer. Kelly says the MRI is the 25th and praises for our remodeling project. It's going well and looks wonderful after being unfinished for years. That's a good praise. That's awesome. Hello, Chad. Chad's in the house. Let's see here. Laura says, I buy mostly used books. It is fun to find notes from other readers. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, and always to see when it was given to somebody and who owned it and stuff. It's kind of fun. Miss Tammy. I don't think Miss Tammy's on. She and her daughters volunteer at a thrift store. So they have been finding such good treasures in the books that they have. Really, really good books. It's awesome. Miss Tammy also got me connected with a bookstore in Missoula, Montana, that when we went down to visit her, she mentioned it, so we had stopped in. I'm trying to get my books in there as well, but they've got all kinds of stuff and stuff that's typically harder to find. And they've called me twice now in the last 2 months with books they've found that I had put on a waiting list. So that is awesome too, is when you're looking for stuff. eBay is another good source for books. You just got to do your checking because some people sell them really high and others have a very small price tag on them. Let me see here. Today is a good day. Toika says, still pain in my knee, but better. The back pain shoots down into both legs and ends up at my knees and or my shins. That's the pain I can't do anything about, nerve pain. Okay. Do you think that will be eliminated when they do the back surgery then? Kelly says, everything in moderation, right, Shelly? She says, I agree. I use lemon or ACV in my water. Yeah. Let me see here. Laura says, things that help. Deep breaths, praising God, petting my fur babies, and coffee enemas. They really help the pain. You know, there's a lot of people that think, oh, Mama T's got to run. Have a good rest of your day, lovely. I'll catch up with you later. Love you. Kelly says, sounds like a sciatica issue. I think she actually has something pinched as a result of previous back surgery, but I'll let her feed that. But coffee enemas, you know, odd topic, but she's right. They do help with pain and they do help with healing and detoxing in such a tremendous way. They have to be used carefully, but you know, some people frown upon that. But I'll tell you what, that was part of my healing regimen, coffee enemas and soaking in Epsom salt and also a pine needle soak. which was absolutely amazing, sticky, but amazing in helping me to detox. But yes, coffee enemas can make you feel like a whole new you. So I totally get that. And yes, deep breaths, praising God. Stretching is also really important. As I was so excited because it was getting nice, and I have a really good space over there at my fire pit, and I was doing stretching there in the fall, and when we were building, I get up there and go out there in the morning with a cup of coffee and my Bible and do my devotions there because the view is just amazing. And I would do my stretches. Stretches are really important. I like to use the yoga stretches, but tips for those of you that are Christians: don't empty your head. Keep God present while you're doing such things, because those stretches are very, very important for the body. When you can keep your body limber and stretched as well as hydrated, you can really eliminate a lot of pain in your body. But when I do any kind of yoga stretches, I am praising God and worshiping God while I'm doing it. So just wanted to put that out there. Jane says, I hate to waste my coffee like that. I drink it and run. That's funny. That's funny. Kelly says cilantro is a detox for heavy metals. Courtney uses it after the MRIs. Awesome. I used a lot of that, and I have a heavy metal supplement that I was taking on a regular basis. The other thing that you might want to do, Kelly, yes, isn't the view amazing, Chad? Oh my goodness, I love our view. I love our view. I love our place. Our place is just so awesome. I just am so content and so happy and so peaceful. It's awesome. But Kelly, one of the things, I had talked about it before. Let me grab it. Is this pot not cool? I just love this pot. It is a gift to the Mountain Man, and we plan to use it on the open fire, but right now I have my supplements in it. Right here, it's probably, is it showing up right way or backwards? It's backwards to me, so maybe it's the right way for you guys. This is a Sones product, and this is awesome. This is their detoxificant, number 7, which is bentonite clay. So this liquid bentonite clay, you put like a tablespoon in a cup of water, and then you add their number 9, which is an intestinal cleanser, which is just psyllium husk. So you could use psyllium husk, but I would get the liquid bentonite. I really like it. And that is a binder. So when you are detoxing anything, lime, metals, anything, and you're trying to get good gut health, by using that binder, you are binding all the toxins in your gut. It's magnetic. It's a pretty amazing stuff. And it's all, it's from the earth. This is a God-given thing. And it binds it internally so that it doesn't go out and reabsorb into the system. A lot of people that have Lyme end up with die-off, and they end up so tremendously sick. And it's because their stuff's dying off way too fast, and it's reabsorbing into the body. So using that in any form of detox is huge. You can find that by going to TrayerWilderness.com/Sones7. It's SONNES, and then the number 7, and Sones 9. So the 2 different links. They're not below, but if you want to put them in the comments, somebody, then you can click on them. But those are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful in really helping to enable you to not get sick while detoxing, and also get the ultimate amount of toxins out of your system when you're making that effort. Because a lot of times detoxes aren't always the most pleasant. So you want to get that stuff out of there as quick as possible. Let me see. Nettles is good as well, along with dandelion. Yes. Oh yes. Isn't that a cool pot? I love that. I love, love, love that. I love finding unique stuff like that. Let me see here. Toika says, yes, ma'am, that is the goal. Arthritis affecting L4 where nerve goes through. Also, last fusion never fused completely, causing pain on movement. Oh, gosh, that's just terrible. Okay, so Laura says, tell me more about the pine needle soak. Okay, the needle soak that I did actually pulls the silicone out of my system. Believe it or not, I'm 5 years out from my surgery, and I am still detoxing silicone. When it comes out of my system, it feels like I've got shards of glass coming through my skin. It is the craziest thing. I get it on my back, mainly my back, my abdomen, and like my chest, high chest area, and my face. It's really strange, but I've actually been noticing it on my legs lately. And that needle soak is actually, yes, that is Sonnes, Kelly. 2 N's, 1 O. And you don't have to put it's number 7 and number 9, but if you put in TrayerWilderness.com/Sonnes, Sonnes 7, it'll take you right to that link, or to the item, and same with number 9. So using that needle soak, it was almost like acupuncture on the body, and it was it's made to stimulate and pull that foreign object out of my body. It's pretty crazy, but it was sticky. Like it tells you to soak your head. I did that once. And it did say to have lemon juice and oil, I believe, handy. Well, I couldn't get my hand through my hair very well for about 3 days. So, and I get why they said head, because I'm still pulling the silicone out of my face. So I get it. But I just started using my face, like wetting my face and my neck, and I'd have my hair way up. But if you have long hair, it's a real drag. But and to get it off your body, just soap and water takes it off. But your skin definitely feels different afterwards, but it is amazing stuff. I'm trying to think. It's TrayerWilderness.com/needle soak, I think, is what the link is for that. Okay, Kelly says, thank you, good information. We'll look for it to have her use with the herbal oils. Yeah, because what you'll want to do is have the oils and the cilantro and all that doing their job, and then use that to pull it all together when it's detoxing. The other thing is milk thistle. Milk thistle is really good at helping the liver pump out the extra toxins. When the liver's taxed, you're not able to remove things from your system. So anytime you guys go through surgery, anesthesia, anything like that, use milk thistle. You can get milk thistle tea, and you can also get supplements. I should put the link. I'll remember to bring that next week, the link for the milk thistle I get, because it's a huge bottle of them. I'm thinking 200 or 400 capsules, and it was very inexpensive, and they're non-GMO. So it was, because I take them daily, I'm still having to detox my liver. So that's part of my regimen. But milk thistle is amazing for that stuff, because I am like so terribly affected by all that stuff. So definitely check those out. Jane says, Miss Homesteader, educate me on how to do this, please. I get MRIs with contrast often. Oh, that stuff is terrible. Yes. Awesome. She will share. And it's so good to get that stuff out of your system as quick as you can. I couldn't even do that right now. I had eye drops to do the cataract test, those like fluorescent yellow drops, and I instantly started having problems with my throat and my face swelling up. So any kind of toxin in my body, I can't do it. Just like last week when my throat and my mouth and my tongue were swelling up, you know, I haven't had to use an EpiPen, because I use peppermint, lavender, and lemongrass oils on my chest plate when that starts happening, and I take an antihistamine, and I just keep using the oil. I haven't had to use the EpiPen, and I said to Glenn, you know, it almost scares me to use the EpiPen, because since I've had my surgery, I haven't had to use one. The only time in my life I ever had to use one was when Austin was 3 days old, and that's a long story, which I'll share another time. But I'm almost afraid to use it because I don't know if my body will react to that. So it might be there to save my life, but it may also be the same thing that kills me. So I like using natural where I can. Okay, so Tammy, does it come out hard or still soft? Are you referring to the bow or the liquid? And yes, on the bow, it is hard. It binds everything, but it's not like terrible. It's passable, and it just puts everything, it keeps everything together. So I hope that helps. Laura said, I had the shards of glass feeling when we first moved off grid. I thought it was nanobites being soaked out in a really hot tub. I will research the pine needle soak. We have plenty around. And this is a special made product. Check it out. You'll understand what I mean when you check it out and see. It's a specially formulated thing. I don't know that we could make it ourselves. So check it out though, and see. That's one thing that I didn't attempt to do myself just because of how they process it and the benefits that I was getting from it. Okay, so Kelly's sharing. Jane, it's cilantro oil, and she takes it twice a day for a week after the MRI. For a week or two, she body checks it. Also, dandelion and nettle, milk thistle too, in oil or teas. Awesome. Yeah, those things, because the dandelion is, awesome in ridding the body of water and waste. And that milk thistle, I can't praise it enough for helping us with our livers.
My spleen.
I knew you were going to say that. Toika says, I never thought of detoxing from MRIs and CT scans. Absolutely. Anything that they do that puts a foreign substance in your body, you should be detoxing. Any kind of anesthesia, any kind of anything. Once I'm done with these antibiotics, I'm detoxing. And it illed me to see the side effects on these antibiotics. And with as sensitive as my body is, it was quite creepy. Jane says, great, because I never feel good after MRIs, and I've often questioned the contrast they put in me and other issues. Yes, ma'am. Yep. I mean, you got to really think about that. It glows in your veins, so what does that tell you, Toika says, I haven't had to have the contrast. And the silicone, yep. You mean, is that why I'm detoxing it? Same thing. It's a foreign object. It's a foreign body, and it caused me such incredible life-threatening issues. Yes, Shelley, you'll need to detox also for sure. The contrast is really hard on the liver and kidneys, yes, because it's really hard for them to process. How to detox IV antibiotics. Milk thistle is, for something like that, I would use milk thistle and use a binder. Wait till it's out of, that you've finished so that it can do what it needs to do. And then when you're finished, use the Sones number 9 and number 7 and milk thistle. And that'll really help you start, because how many of you take antibiotics and then feel like crap when you're done or while you're taking it? I mean, a lot of the antibiotics make your tongue tinny, and, so it's mainly chemicals. And like I said, I very reluctantly am taking them, but if I didn't take them, I would be in some trouble because this infection is just not going away, and it's causing me greater issues. So it's learning how to take care of our bodies, and sometimes having to cave to big pharma, and then at that point knowing what we can do to make ourselves healthy again. And the other thing that happens with antibiotics so often too, I learned this when my daughter was little, because she was sick for the whole first year of her life because she was in daycare. Austin didn't have to do that, but she did. And she was sick, so I was sick. So for a year, every week we spent a day at the doctor's office, and your body gets immune to those antibiotics and eventually doesn't do anything. So that's when I really started getting into natural health with my kids and being able to give them natural remedies versus antibiotics, and also then knowing how to detox their bodies when they were done. So it's really, really important to know that stuff and to take care of ourselves, because you gotta imagine we're test tube dummies, man. Really. Jane says, great, my MRIs are brain and spinal cord, not good. Well, we'll be praying for you for sure. When is your MRI scheduled, Jane? Shelley says, I'm loving the IV in the sense that I have not digestive issues that crop up with pills. Right. And you're probably getting the fluid to rehydrate too. So Jane says, hate antibiotics, always cause other issues. Always. Kelly says there is a balance, and sometimes we need antibiotics, but cleansing and building up our GI tract and immune is key, big time, because they wipe out our GI tract. Oftentimes they cause yeast infections, and abundance of yeast in our bodies, both in our digestive tract and others for us ladies, and it's just it's not pleasant. Plus the side effects. I mean, if you look at the side effects on the medications you are taking, it is absolutely insane. Trying to cure one thing and you kill yourself taking those, it really troubles me. Jane says, this is all such useful information. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Kelly says, praying for you, Jane. Thank you, Miss Kelly. Toika says, is the silicone hard or soft when coming through the skin? I guess kind of hard. Yeah, it's like little crystals. Like it literally feels like shards of glass. And I'll take my fingernails and go up my skin, and they'll be underneath my fingernails. So it's really weird. It's really, really weird. I'm grateful it's coming out. I feel for the women that had full silicone implants, because when they leak, it's just in everything. And it's weird because when it's coming through my system, when it starts surfacing, I've already experienced weird problems with my organs or something that happened prior to it surfacing. So, it's just weird to think what it's doing as it's going through my system, that it's not damaging stuff as it's making its way out. It's really pretty creepy. I'm grateful God used me as a vessel to save lives. We've definitely touched a lot of lives, and my mini series will be coming out next month sometime. So hopefully we can touch more lives. The silicone is not just implants, breast implants. It's any kind of silicone implant in the body. The stomach. Thank you. Stomach belts, and there's devices inserted for implanted in the body as ports for chemotherapy. And I know a woman that had that put into her spinal column in the back of her neck for her chemo, and it's not removable. So she was cured of cancer, and now she's dying of silicone poisoning, which is just absurd. So, and I've had a real eye-opener as far as all the different types of implants that are out there in the world with people contacting me. It's pretty alarming. So it's pretty crazy. I'm going to be off here in a few seconds. I need to evaluate what's going on up there. Although the sun, it's brighter out. But you'll shut stuff down. No, just wait a second. I had to process that. He asked if he could shut the generator off, and I'm trying to remember all I have connected up there. Let me see. So Toika Toika, with your question, you also got a TMI then on that one as to how I answered it the first time. That's pretty funny. Jane, Jane says, I just had one need another, but I'm procrastinating. Okay. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. They're not kind, and I don't like having to do any of that. You know, I don't mind giving blood and testing my blood, but beyond that, I don't like to do much else. Kelly says, yes, Courtney had toenail fungus and the doctors wanted her to take a pill, but they wanted to do a liver function test. I asked why, and they said it can cause liver failure. Yeah, so can this antibiotic I'm taking. It's like, oh my word. That's just crazy. So I asked if the fungus was fatal. They said no. We left and used a homeopathic Thuju, and it's got rid of it and a wart she had as well with no issues. Right. Guys, you got to do your homework. You got to be your greatest advocate, and you got to do your research, because there's so much we can do for ourselves that is so much less harmful for ourselves. But it just takes effort of looking it up and finding good sources. And if you don't have good sources, reach out to me. Toika says, that's why it hurts. Thank you. Okay. Jane says, hugs to all of you. I have to run. All right, lady, have a good day and a good rest of your week. I will see you Thursday, hopefully, and praying for you. Yeah, natural cures can take longer. Some can be quicker. With pink eye, that goop they give you to put in your eye takes like 7 to 10 days for it to clear it up. And I have herbs that I take that take 3, and lavender can take as little as a day or 2, sometimes 3, depending how bad it is. And the reason I know this is because that's one of the side effects of some of the stuff that has happened to me, is that I get pink eye. When I get bit by a spider, I get pink eye. It's really crazy. So anyway, but yeah, this was really good information. But don't have the harsh causes exactly and side effects. It's just crazy. It's just so crazy to see. And that's the first thing I look at, because I just was so reluctant to have to do this. And I'm just praying. Please help me pray, because today's the last day of these, and I'm still not feeling 100%. So please pray that this wipes it out, that I don't have to take any more, because I just don't want to go that route. I was doing oregano and thieves and frankincense, and that was helping. That did help me, but it just keeps reoccurring, so I'm not sure. So I'm praying that doesn't come back. So I do need to jump off of here, because he needs to shut that off, and I need to see what I've got running upstairs before he does that and crashes everything. But guys, this was really good. Try celery oil. Okay, thank you. I will try that. I will try that. I have never tried that one before. Although, you know what? I think I have some. I got a sample. Cool. Thank you for sharing that, Kelly. So I will be praying for all of you. We've got a lot of good praises today. We've got a lot of good prayer requests, and we've got an amazing community. I don't know if you guys come back or see. I don't know if you guys are prompted when somebody leaves a comment on a video you've watched. I guess not, unless they've commented on yours. But we've been getting some amazing comments on our videos and in the community on how people are finding us and what they feel when they find us. You know, we've got a great community here, and you guys just resonate love and trust and faith, and it's just so amazing. I love it, and I'm so grateful, and that is my praise, is to see what God is doing and how God is using us. It's just so incredible. If you haven't joined the community, go to trayerwilderness.com/community. It's free. Think of Facebook or Facebook group without all the garbage, without all the bunny trails, and a really good, wholesome place for the whole family. Lots of things coming to the community, lots being shared by individuals on the community, so be sure to go check it out. And I have a bunch of things coming. We will be doing Wow, I just had a major brain fart. Oh, a giveaway. Jeez, we will be doing a giveaway here on YouTube and in the community. We've reached over 5,000 here on YouTube, praising that. I've been so diverse these last 11 years in my writing and the website and all the social media. And we're really honing in on Instagram and YouTube right now, and it's showing in our YouTube growth. So definitely like, share, comment, and help us grow, because this is just really awesome to see what's transpiring in our community. I forgot to mention, and a lot of people have jumped off already, but in the comments below, I don't remember what I called it, but there is I think it's a Christian bundle. If you are looking for good Christian materials to read and do devotionals, you can go to trayerwilderness.com/Christian bundle. I think it's available for the next 4 days. Lots of materials there, very tremendous information, and wanted to share that. And the Homestead open house is still available to you. You can go to trayerwilderness.com/homestead open house. So much good material there. I encourage you to go check it out and become a part of that. I was really blessed to be a part of that. Deb says, thanks. Thanks, Tammy and friends in this community. Love all of you and what we all stand for with God's directing us and his blessings. Amen, sister. And Deb says, congrats on your 5K and all you do outside of YT also. So grateful for finding you almost a year ago. I know, it's crazy to believe it was almost a year ago, but it's awesome. Yeah, the time is flying. I can't believe we are heading into April. We're actually celebrating Easter early this weekend so that the Mountain Boy can be a part of it. Yes, excited. And Toyka says, Tammy, there are some antibiotics that work for many days after the last pill. Okay, good to know. I'll hold off detoxing too for that reason. So I'm going to say a prayer and send you guys on your way. Papa, I just thank you so much for your amazing hand in our community, your presence, and these amazing people that are watching live and also watching the replay. I just thank you for how you work in our community. I thank you for how we love on one another. I lift up all our praises to you today. We have so many praises, and we are so grateful for your hand in all of our lives and how you are working things out. And even on the days when things go awry, we seek you for direction and guidance because we know your way is best. I want to lift up prayers for Shelly and Jane and Toyka and Melissa's grandmother Dorothy and Melissa's two daughters and Melissa. And we lift up Kelly and Courtney to you. And we're going to lift up Carol. And I feel like I'm missing somebody. I think I said Toyka. But I just lift us up as a whole. We all have prayer needs. We all have things going on in our day-to-day. We pray for those in our community that have listed the need for prayer. And Papa, you know everyone's needs before we do. And we just lift them up to you today and ask that you wrap your loving arms around them for comfort and peace and healing, and just guide and direct our paths. Thank you for what you're doing in our lives. Thank you for what you're going to do in our lives and in this community. And we just thank you for such abundance and blessings. And we ask all of this in your holy and precious name of Jesus. Amen. I heard running water. It was a dog getting a drink. It sounded strange. All right, so you guys are awesome. Shelly says, usually 3 days to get into system at levels that work, so 3 days after before detoxing, I would think, Shelly says. Awesome. You guys are so awesome. I love you all so very much. I am very thankful for each and every one of you being a part of my life, and these sessions are amazing. I hope this has started you off on a good foot for your week. I want you guys to really focus on creating new healthy habits, getting rid of the old ones. Get your plans and goals and your calendars out and start keeping an intentional effort to keep track of your days and your time, and be intentional about everything you do. The more intentional we are about the things we are trying to accomplish, the better off we are in having peaceful days. And I don't know about you, but I need peace in my life. I need lots of peace. Deb says, blessings all, prayers for Austin traveling and all your time together. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Yes, keep Austin in your prayers. He's got so much amazing stuff going on, but he still needs prayers, and God is just so good. God is so, so good. So I love you all. Have a good rest of your week. I will see you Thursday. God bless.